Welcome to the Franchise Woman Podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. I'm Rebecca Monet, CEO and Chief Scientist at Zoracle Profiles, along with my co host, community advocate, speaker, author, and entrepreneur, Tracy Kawa. So we have a very special guest today that was invited from Karen Booz. So you got to be a special guest. Mary Anna Lewis. Mary Anna is a small business owner at heart. She spent over 25 years working as an independent business coach. Mary Anna has owned Mosquito Squad of the Low Country in Charleston, South Carolina since 2011 and has been a business advisor with the parent company Authority Brands since 2021. In this position, she serves 18 to 20 franchise owners in a support role to partner with each location in their success. Business advisors act as a liaison between corporate office and the owners to coach, set goals, develop action plans, encourage, strategize, and of course, problem solve. In her time with Mosquito Squad, her location has been awarded Rookie of the Year, Top Sales Award, and she's been a member of the Franchise Advisory Council. But hold on, guys, she does even more. She's a devotee of the franchise model. She also owns a second franchise, Low Country Textile Recycling, DBA, The Clothes Bin. And she bought that in 2018, where she also serves as their franchise advisory council. Bottom line, Mary Anna loves to serve others and give back. Welcome to the show, Mary Anna.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Thank you, Tracy. I said in my Southern drawl, I'm tickled to be here.
Mary Anna, it sounds like you need a clone. How do you do it all? You're an owner of two different franchises. You are on two completely separate advisory teams. You're a consultant to so many other franchisees. How do you do it all?
I think it was just luck in literally my first job out of college, which was with a small business coaching firm in Charleston. And one of the things that we had to learn, because we had to implement it with our clients, is just the whole process of goal setting and prioritization and time management. And along with that, I think I've done every Strength Finders, Myers-Briggs, DISC, Enneagram, love languages. I mean, you name it. So I know myself, and I know where I am strong, and I certainly know where I am weak. And just like, so many smart business owners, they hire to the places where they're not as strong. And I've been just really blessed to get people around me on my team that lift me up and just let me do what I'm good at. And therefore the time presents itself. And I just have a lot of freedom because I've got a fantastic team.
It's fascinating to me that these are very different businesses, or at least on the outside, they look like different businesses, the Clothesbin and Mosquito Squad. So there's no mental shifting. Okay, now I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Or is it just, I got a good team, I have certain roles, they need to execute here, I need to execute there. I mean, to you, is it just business?
I think it's more the way my brain operates, which is off the KISS principle, keep it simple, silly, and combined with the 80-20 rule. And so I just keep things very, very simple, and I spend my time on what's going to get me 80% of the results. So by doing that's what I find so challenging sometimes in working with other folks, is they are busy and have the false sense that they're getting things accomplished, which they are, but they're not things that are moving them forward.
Mhm.
So I go back to my original training, that's just kind of how my brain operates. And the KISS principle and the 80-20 principle. And I will say, in practical terms, the businesses are similar in that I can exchange employees. So a Mosquito Squad technician and a clothesbin technician, I can take one and put them in either truck, whether it has Mosquito Squad or the clothesbin on it, and I train them for both. So that gives me a lot of flexibility. My support team in the office and my general manager just absolutely crush it for me. So there's no way I would have been able to have taken this business advisor position had they not been in place. And
Mhm.
I just keep us focused on the keeping the main thing the main thing.
Wow. I don't know about you, Rebecca, but I'd really like to know where Mary Anna places her attention the 80% of the time. Like what do you think are your greatest skill sets?
Well, again, I've done every personality test, and I think that's key for folks in leadership positions is to know themselves. And that, it's kind of in vogue right now to talk about self-awareness, but it's so true. If you put me in an admin role, I would not do well. I would not flourish. If you told me I had to be in an office from 9 to 5 behind a desk, I would not flourish. I want to be out. I want to be making sales calls. I want to be generating leads. I want to be, creating new projects and then letting somebody else implement. So the good news with both of the Mosquito Squad franchise and the clothesbin is, for instance, with Mosquito Squad, the foundation of our business is our renewal rate and our close rate.
Mhm.
So those are the two things in my office that I have got to make sure is foundational. And that's what I try to get foundational with the franchisees that I coach. With the clothesbin, the number one thing is bin placement where those bins are going to be productive, meaning folks donate their textiles there.
Yeah.
If it's not, you have got to move it. So it's just, I keep the main thing, and I've just, with the help of my franchisors, they've coached me on what the main thing is, and that's what I just preach.
Great advice from your franchisors. Well,
Mhm.
first off, we need you to take the Zoracle assessment.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Just to add to everything else that you already know, because it's franchise specific.
I
And
learn something new every test I take. The latest one I took was the Enneagram, and I am fascinated, just fascinated. So I can't wait to take yours. Thank you.
the Enneagram is the oldest profiling tool in the world. So it's been around a long time. There was a couple of things you said I want to highlight, and then I want to really dig into your heart and your mind. One was this 80-20 rule. It's kind of those big rocks, small rocks, sand kind of analogy, right? And you take care of the big rocks, and the rest sort of is done by others. So I appreciate that, and it's kind of a good reminder to me what's priority, and that's the first thing that needs to be done. Everything else will just sort of fall in place after that. So let me ask you a personal question. If you had an open audience and you could say, I want the world to know this, whether it's a belief system, a motto you live by, an idea you have, but what is it that you would love to get out to the world?
I just believe each of us is individually created for more than we could ever think or imagine.
That's powerful.
That is power. And how do you get to that? Right? Who are the people who shape us? How do you get to that core purpose?
I think you can get there a lot of ways. My faith drives me a lot into how I see the world and how I navigate things and how I try to treat people. There are just people that want to speak life into others, whether it be a parent or a teacher or a coach or an employer or a coworker, or your kids. So I think it depends on who you surround yourself with. And I just have a lot of people in my circle of faith that speak life into me. I don't think it has to be a circle of faith. I think you can surround yourself with folks that build you up and see your potential. But I think, I mean, what was it? Einstein only used 3% of his potential. Oh my gosh. If Einstein only used 3%, that means that all of us have untapped potential. And whether we've believed a lie or just struggling in confidence in an area, there's just more out there for each of us, whether it's more peace or true to the podcast, more profit, more passion. But there's more in the area of your life that you're craving than you could ever imagine.
So I want to go back to the first comment you made, which was you truly believe that we are created for more than we could ever imagine. I just tried that on for a second as you were talking, and it just give me kind of tingles, right? Because it means I have some significance. It means I have some purpose. It means my life has meaning in many ways. I look at our world today where there's anxiety and depression and young folks who feel like they're nothing but a speck of sand, that have no value. I can just imagine if they had that kind of an identity that says, I'm valuable, I have significance, I was put on this earth for something greater than I can even imagine.
Yeah.
What the ripple effect of that would be.
Yeah. And that's what you're explaining, Rebecca, that ripple effect. That's what I feel like my franchises have given me the opportunity to do, is to have that ripple effect. My staff, from a culture standpoint, our goal is to leave people with a lift in their day, whether that's a touch of light, whether it's a word of patience, a word of encouragement, an open ear, just a word of kindness, and in explaining something about our service that they may not understand. But we have so many opportunities to make a difference. It doesn't have to be, building an orphanage in a third world country, which I am all for, but it does not have to be something grand. You can have purpose in just your general everyday interactions, with a smile and a wave in the car in your neighborhood. Just there's purpose in, if you look for it. There's purpose if you look for it. But I think the biggest challenge is not believing that you have purpose.
There's two directions I want to go with this right now that are conflicting. But what I will say is that my grandmother used to walk down the street with me and pick up litter and teach me, leave every place you go better.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there's an analogy between us as people leaving places, things better, uplifting others. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, that's I say that a lot, is we want to leave people better than we found them. And I just don't know of one single individual that couldn't use. I mean, we're created for community. We're created for fellowship. We weren't meant to live alone. So we just, like I said, I think it's just believing that you have purpose and that you can make a difference, whether it's picking up a piece of trash or building that orphanage and everything in between. Everything in between. It all matters and it's all being used. It's kind of that that analogy of the tapestry, all those little things that you do, all those strings, just kind of hanging, and then you turn it over and there's this beautiful work of art, which is your life. One little string hanging on the other side may not make a big difference, but when you put them all together and turn it over, I mean, wow. So I'm thankful to get to do that through my franchises.
Can you give us an example as an advisor, as a liaison with Mosquito Squad, how you do that with franchisees that may be struggling or going through a difficult time or doesn't, lacking a certain skill set? How do you go about doing that? Because some of those conversations, I would think, are deep conversations, whether it's fear or financial issues or health issues, whatever. You really do need to get to the heart of the matter. So tell me, can you tell us a story about someone that you left in a better place, one of your franchisees?
Well, I'll start with first of all, thank you for asking that, because I love getting to come alongside and partner with my franchisees in their success. And I think to be successful in this business advisor role, you have to earn the trust of that franchisee. There's a saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So that's kind of how I started in my business advisor role. Is I spent time trying to communicate and spend time with my franchisees, showing them that I care, and giving bits and pieces of advice and encouragement, because a lot of these people, they will do just fine without a business advisor. They know what they're doing. They run successful businesses. I'm a value added resource provided by Authority Brands. They can choose to take advantage of what I am hoping to offer or not. And so to do that, I mean, we have to have a personal relationship. And so I have to get to know them. But I think one of the things that helps me in this role is that, I'm just an objective third party and I can give feedback. And so, for instance, I'm thinking about one of my my franchisees that they thought they were at a point of selling their business and had gotten an offer. That offer got strung out for about 3 months. It finally fell through. They got back up on the horse, got another offer. That one fell through. And that's, if you've ever tried to sell a business, much less run one, that's an emotional roller coaster. It's almost like when you put your house on the market, and all those showings, and it's just can be emotionally draining. So they had, over the course of about 8 or 9 months, they had 2 buyers fall through, thinking that they were moving on to their next chapter, which we wished them well and blessed them forward. And they said, I don't think we can get back in the sales market anymore. And so they chose to go back all in running their business and coming into a season to really take it and take it to another level. And I was just there as a confidant, an advisor, but really I listened a lot, because when you're selling it, it's not the same as advising them on how to increase their closing average and this, that, and the other. But the fact that they trusted me enough to engage me in running their business again and taking it to the next level, it's an honor. It's just an honor to get to be on that journey with them.
It's amazing. As I'm listening to you, it almost seems like you're describing an emotional component to business, or like an emotional psychological component, and then the actual steps, the concrete steps you need to take. So how much time do you spend addressing each, and how do they integrate? Because you did say you spent a lot of time listening.
Tracy, at this point, I've had the relationship with these franchisees for almost 3 years, and I just have to do a pulse check when I get on the phone with them. I mean, do you feel like going through your P&L today? What kind of day are you having? I mean, if they were up all night with a sick child and then went into work and 2 out of their 10 employees didn't show up and they're like, I can't even concentrate, then we're not going to talk about P&Ls that day. I'm probably going to ask them if they just want to vent for a minute, and we'll reschedule and we'll jump back on that call the next week. Or if there's something, even in a situation like that, if there's like we've got a deadline with a vendor that they're going to get significant discounts if they sign up, by today. If I had that conversation and they'd been up all night, employees didn't show up, I'm still going to say, what can I do to help you meet this deadline so you get that cost savings for 2024? So I do think I have a really good balance between, I'm very relational, but I'm very action oriented. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's like, all right, what are you committed to? What am I committed to? What's the deadline? When are we going to follow up? I mean, y'all know. So I do both, but I let the franchisee lead it, because it does no good for me to try to have an agenda that doesn't suit what's going on with them at that moment in time that we're talking.
What you're talking about now, to me, are all those emotional and social intelligence components of you, those markers that allow you to coach, encourage, dig in, prod, whatever needs to be done with not just your own employees, but then with other franchisees that need that. So it's kind of this beautiful director with wonderful EQ, SQ that combines it. So it's not harsh, but relational, but still we got to get this done kind of thing.
Well, so being relational and having that just inner, I believe so much in the potential of other people, I do have to watch it that I don't get impatient when they're not doing the things that they need to do to increase their potential when I know it's there. And so I have to watch that. I have to watch that balance and make sure that because I just believe in them. I believe in them, and want to see them, just have the very best business, and our business life fuels our personal life. So I just want the best for them.
And you're right. This philosophy, this belief you have that we're created for more than we can even imagine. You believe that not just for yourself, but for others. And when others aren't there, it's got to be like, come on, you can do this. I believe in you. Can't you see what God sees and what I see in you? It's like, wake up.
Well, and I tell them their goal is my goal. I mean, as a business advisor, their goal is my goal, but that's also the same in my friendships. My friends' goals are my goals. I mean, that's just the way I think it works best.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
You were talking about increasing their potential. You weren't talking about increasing profits. You said increasing potential, and that caught my ear. What's the relationship of increasing potential to increasing profits?
I mean, again, I go back to what was so intriguing about y'all's podcast is purpose, passion, profits. I just think that they can all intermingle so beautifully. And I think the best answer to that is in a negative example of, we all know people that profit has just been astronomical, but they have no passion. They have no reason to get up in the morning. They don't want to go to work, but their company is making, gazillions of dollars. And so I don't know that they all have to be, completely balanced, but there's a place for all of it to coexist. One, if you believe it can coexist. And the definition of potential is different for each person. One person's potential in wanting to be the best dad that he can be is different from somebody that wants to be the best electrical engineer and, win this award in his electrical engineer association versus somebody that wants to be a great manager of his team. So I think you have to define. Yes, you need to define your financial potential. Yes, absolutely. And along with that, what's your inside your business potential, outside your business potential, your physical potential, health potential, mental potential, physical potential. It depends on, and I was trained to ask a lot of questions in my first career. So I'm comfortable having those conversations if the person's open to it, if they're open to it.
Yeah. So there's also a part of you talk about this desire, or you're driven by serving, and we can already see that's super obvious. What we haven't heard a lot about is this philanthropic side of you and the clothes bin and all of that, and how that makes a difference for schools and churches. Can you tell us a little bit more about that side of the business with the clothes bin?
Well, yes, and I have to back up and say, I think that I come by that genetically. I just don't ever remember a time. It was just my dad and I in high school, and he was an entrepreneur, and he was one of the most generous men I've ever met. And, he gave with what he had. He didn't try to give, more than he just gave. He was a state leader in a philanthropic volunteer organization. So I kind of came up that way, but also it fills something in my heart. So Mosquito Squad helped me fall in love with franchising. And then I worked with my fantastic franchise broker, Kathy Petcash with FranNet. And I told Kathy 4 years ago, I said, I think I've got one more business in me. And I said, but here are the parameters. And I gave her 4 or 5 things I said that I'm not willing to do. And she went, oh. And I said, well, you asked. And so she came back with this clothes bin business. And she said, it's a green recycling effort, which I said, people love that. And then she said, and it's a philanthropic effort. And I said, oh, where do I sign? So it's a zero work passive fundraiser for schools and churches where a textile recycling bin is placed on the campus of the church or the school. People donate their unwanted pants, shoes, backpacks, and a portion of the proceeds that I sell those textiles for goes back to the school, or the church. So we are keep 85% of the textiles that end up in the landfill had the opportunity to be recycled, and they're not. So we keep textiles out of the landfill. A third of it goes back on a hanger. A third of it goes to the rag out industry, and a third of it goes to manufacturing. So it is helping Mother Earth, which I love, and it's helping churches and schools. My poor kids, we drug them on a out of the country mission trip when they were in kindergarten and second grade. So I just love giving back and serving. And this business, when she told me about it, it just hit all the buttons for me. And so we bought it, and we've been, I mean, I just can't believe I hit the jackpot twice. I mean, first with Mosquito Squad, and secondly with the clothesbin. It's, yeah, hit the jackpot.
The clothesbin. It sounds like a win-win-win-win-win-win situation.
Yeah, and it's a really new concept, kind of like Mosquito Squad was when I bought Mosquito Squad in 2011. A lot of folks didn't know about specific mosquito control companies. So it's a little bit the same with the clothesbin, in that people, when they see a bin in a retail shopping center parking lot, they know what it is, but the philanthropic side and the bold recycling message that's given is different, and it's really cutting edge. Mark Douglas, I love hearing franchisee stories and how they get to the franchising tipping point and listening to his story. But just like Mosquito Squad, the corporate team in both of my franchises, I just can't say enough good things from the level of support, the encouragement, they both just, it's almost kind of open arms. They're just there. They truly want your success. They know their success is your success.
Mm.
So it's the two fabulous businesses. Fabulous.
Yeah, you're definitely a blessed woman.
Yeah.
And honestly, you're blessing a ton of people.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, other franchisees, but also people you may never know at the schools that are benefiting, the churches that are being benefited. So you're blessing many people who will then have that trickle effect that we talked about a little bit before, where they can provide for their families, provide jobs, go to college, buy a house, use money to build another wing on a church, whatever is necessary. You're having a huge impact, girl.
Well, and I just want to get the word out there about franchises, especially to women. That single mom out there, there's so many franchises, and to at least go through the exploratory process, because of the amount of support you can get. After my history in coaching small privately held businesses, I knew what it took to build an operations manual. I knew what it took to build standard operating procedures. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it by myself. But, that's the basis of a franchise, is the operations manual. And then all the amazing resources, marketing, HR, I mean, just on and on and on. So, for women to know that there is support out there, I just think small business ownership is the best. It's just the best. I mean, the freedom it's allowed me to take my kids to school, pick them up every day, the financial blessings. So just the more people, women especially, I just want to get the word out there.
That's
awesome. So in getting the word out there, how can people contact you, Mariana?
Oh gosh, I'm not very prominent on social media. I don't think I'm on LinkedIn, but uh I am on Facebook.
Okay.
Uh
Just
and yeah, I don't have a big social media presence, but
maybe
you can find,
contact Mosquito Squad
yep,
and
you can
the
find
closed.
Mosquito Squad at mosquitosquad.com and the Clothesbin at theclothesbin.com. And I am an open book. If anybody wants to talk about franchising, Mosquito Squad, the Clothesbin, I can't talk enough about it.
I love the passion. I love the
Yes.
purpose. I'm delighted there's wonderful profit, and clearly you know how to build relationships. So, boom, you marked off all the boxes for us girls. So, thanks for being here, Mariana. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tracy, do you have any final words for us?
Yeah, I just so what most of our listeners don't know is that Mariana started this podcast off with the most beautiful prayer. And I just want to say that you're definitely doing God's work, Mariana. I mean, you're living in your zone of purpose. You are definitely a role model, and you're helping, and like Rebecca said, blessing so many people. So thank you so much for being who you are and for your presence on the show today.
Well, maybe we can end the way we started.
Let's do it. It's in your
Yes.
hands, Mariana.
Lord, I just thank you for this opportunity just to talk about what you're doing in my life and in Rebecca's life and in Tracy's life and what you want to do in anybody that hears this life through this podcast. Lord, it's all yours, and you have created each of us for such a purpose that only each person hearing this can accomplish. So, Lord, I just pray that you pour out your love and your light into everybody that hears this. And thank you for this opportunity to give you glory and to talk about you. Amen.
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 Thanks again. And thanks to those listening in today to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. Make sure to share this interview with Mary Anna Lewis. And of course, like, comment, and be back here next week for another interview.